Like a couple Bitcoins. Pull up on my Nakamoto.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the Blockchain Dynamics Show.
Hello, welcome everyone.
We're chilling here. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, real springtimey out.
It is Sunday, April 22nd, 2018.
That's right. It's episode 91 over here.
My name is Brandon Doach.
And I am Woody. This content is presented for entertainment purposes only and should not be considered financial advice.
That is right. We got a giveaway. Still giving those Aeronum away thanks to Obi-Wan.
Yep.
Still got some Arrow to give away. I think.
Yep.
I think maybe the next one after this is when we'll have exhausted our Arrow supply, so we'll find some other shitcoin to give away, I guess. But I mean that lovingly. Actually, I love Arrow.
Of course. The last week's question, just for a little bit of trivia, was what percentage of the Esper's coin supply was distributed through the reverse ICO? And the answer was 20%.
That's
so
right.
Congrats, of course, to the winner from last week.
I feel like to call it a reverse ICO, they should have had to pay the people to take the coins, you know?
In Bitcoin as well, a little bit of extra.
Yeah, they have to pay Bitcoin for people to take them.
Well, that would have been extremely generous. I would have been down for that as much as I was down for just taking some free Espers, too.
Yeah,
Cool.
You really can't complain.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're going to jump right into the news.
Yep, pretty light news week, we felt like, but there was one piece that we felt we had to mention. Of course, you've heard it everywhere already, that Verge was accepted at Pornhub.
Yeah, Verge got that Pornhub payment method option, I guess.
So, I don't know, from my perspective, I thought it was worth mentioning just because it really is a large partnership for what's pretty much a dark horse crypto. And so it signifies the possibilities a little bit for other cryptocurrencies as far as partnerships go. Ones that maybe, I know a lot of people don't like pornography, and I saw some of that response out there, but regardless, you know, it's a huge industry. So, but if something else that more people were excited about got a partnership, I'm sure the response would have been slightly different. So,
well, and I don't know what else you're going to expect from Dogecoin Dark. You know, you can't really be like, oh man, they picked a terrible, they shouldn't be encouraging this. It's Dogecoin.
right.
This isn't what Dogecoin Dark stands for, or something. That's a odd argument to make, I think. But yeah, I think it's interesting. The question for all of these things usually is what the adoption is like, even for services that adopt like Bitcoin or other altcoins that are used more commonly for payments. So this is like a kind of interesting out there case, I guess, of an altcoin doing one of these partnerships, probably as a promotional thing, you know.
Sure.
But the question would be, is anyone actually going to use the Verge? Are they ever going to release those numbers? If they do, it would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
They could, you know, fake them or whatever, but it'll still be cool to see.
One thing that it makes me think about a little bit is at certain times when altcoins would be released or whatnot, there'd be two different things people would say. One is, why wouldn't they just accept Bitcoin? Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then the other one would be essentially why don't they make their own token that they could have more influence over?
Right.
I would have heard both of those arguments back in the day.
When it comes down to it, almost all the merchants these days use a payment processor, right? I'm not sure if the Verge thing is using a payment processor.
It is. I can't remember. There was a specific big one, yeah.
So they just found a payment processor to go through. Like, is it Shapeshift or a different one?
I thought it was a different one. I wish I knew the name of it offhand.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's a good point. They could have pretty much picked out of probably any coin that was on that payment processor as far as whatever integration they went with in the end. So either way, hopefully we'll see, you know, more websites accepting more cryptocurrencies in the future. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, really not too much else in the news this week aside from that. There's a lot of news lately just about like corporate stuff. You know, companies are buying companies, and
everyone's starting to
every company has
get a blockchain division going, and people are getting snatched up from big companies all over the world.
So when they start actually releasing blockchains that we can tool around with, I guess is when I get more excited about that kind of stuff.
Yep. But it was a really interesting week market-wise, I think.
Markets were popping, man.
Yeah. It was actually seemed like a long week to me, because when we were looking back and we were seeing that this was the week Cloak Coin was listed on Binance, that kind of felt like it was almost 2 weeks ago for me, unfortunately.
There's a lot of that this week. It's really funny. That's a really good way of knowing that you're in a good alt period or whatever, is because you think about stuff like, oh, Emer coin moving, Grossel coin moving, and you're like, oh, that feels like that was happening
Yeah.
weeks ago, but a lot of that was just earlier this week.
And probably just because so much was happening in the interim too,
Yep.
A lot of coins just going up, including Bitcoin, which is great. It felt like it was kind of accommodating in the sense that it wouldn't go up, but not too fast. Some coins would start to lose their value relative to Bitcoin as Bitcoin went up against USD. And then we'd have to see that nice Bitcoin slow down its rise, and altcoins would recover pretty nicely, it seemed like.
Yep. But what we're seeing right now is still the same. It's like Bitcoin's racing and altcoins are bouncing even faster still. We're kind of like, it's almost like we're still in that bounce off the floor stage where when Bitcoin's going up, alts are overperforming even versus Bitcoin.
Yeah, it does feel that way.
Looking at the actual numbers this week, Bitcoin is up since the last show about $660, which is 8%.
Not bad. And Ethereum is up quite a bit. Wow. Up about $113 from the last show.
It's funny. It's easy to forget that one of the most common patterns that we noticed when we were tracking the markets a lot last year and in 2016 is that the alt markets tend to really stick close to Ethereum, and it's easy to be surprised by it and be like, oh man, I didn't even realize that ETH was up 22% or whatever this week.
Right.
But then that's a pretty normal pattern, and then you look at the alt numbers, right? Altcoins on average are up actually quite a bit, 33% versus USD, so altcoins are even outperforming Ether on this move.
Wow. And it looks like we were measuring the top 300 coins on CoinMarketCap, and 278 of those were up versus USD in the last week, and 250 of them up versus Bitcoin.
There's so many coins on CMC these days, I feel like I'm going like deep into the list now.
Yep.
So we got top 300 this time.
Yep, just in general, I'm trying to take my time and be a little bit more open-minded, I guess, about some of these coins. It's been difficult a little bit just because of like the ICO rush and everything being different from what I was a little bit used to. But I can tell that some of these, I underestimated some of the longevity of some coins that are on exchanges that I'm just not familiar with, that are coming up well.
Yeah, I definitely agree that we've underestimated. I definitely have. So we both have underestimated some of these projects that have come out, I think, in the last year. And it's easy to do because we're used to the proof of work dynamic that we're used to for so long is that it's kind of easier for us to do a fundamental evaluation because you can always go back to the mining and look at what's going on there to kind of try and get a better sense of the value of the currency. And you just don't have that at all with ICOs. And we've complained before about some of the structural issues with ICOs, like with self-buying and stuff.
Yeah.
But even that doesn't change the fact that a lot of the best development is still being funded through ICOs, and you can't like pretend that that's not happening either.
Exactly.
So I think the real challenge, I don't think it'll come with time, especially for me, is I built a framework for evaluating these coins that really heavily played into the mining part just for my understanding of what was going on. And so now I have to kind of build a new set of tools, I guess, for evaluating some of these projects.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be fun to take maybe closer looks at some of them as we go through. One thing that's just, I'm definitely more aware of the listings now, and as things get listed, it's still not a great sign all the time. Like definitely things are getting listed that I'm not interested in at all, and I'm like, what is this? But at the same time, things are getting listed that I need to look closer at too. So
Yep.
it'll be fun.
What do we got? Gainers and losers this week?
On the gainer side, Green Coin, something up a lot. Game.com up a lot.
Green Coin is up 1,400%, whatever Green Coin is.
Yep. Maybe it's just relatively new to CoinMarketCap too or something, but
Yep. We got Ship Chain is up 100%.
Ship, definitely been hearing about that. Grossel up 85%. And I think this one's surprising people a little bit. Bitcoin Private up 78%.
What's surprising to me about Bitcoin Private is that it was already at 35, the 35th ranked coin. Now this week with this bounce, it's up to number 24. I would have guessed it would have been much lower.
Yeah, so.
But I guess that's the advantage of the beauty of a Bitcoin fork. They carry a lot of that market cap forward, regardless of whether some of the big holders even know that they have the token.
Correct. Yeah. or even if they are aware of it, they're just not interested in participating too.
Yep.
Sometimes.
So interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Always got some losers, but still compared to what we'd seen a few weeks ago, they really didn't lose all that much. Ormeus coin down 31%, Verge is down 24%, ECC down 24%.
Yep. Ontology token down 14%.
The key, whatever that is, down 13%.
Yep.
The question for me, I guess, right now, we're in this dynamic where alts are climbing faster than Bitcoin, even faster than Ethereum. Are we going to see a situation like it seems like if Bitcoin keeps climbing like this, it's going to be pretty smooth sailing. I guess the question for me is what's going to happen that first day that Bitcoin, drops $1,000 in a day or whatever.
Yeah.
Are we going to see just a huge alt bloodbath, or are they going to maybe hold their USD a little bit better than Bitcoin? I guess that's kind of like the first thing that I'm looking at for like the next indicator of whether this alt run is going to be healthy or not.
Yeah, that's a good point. That definitely remains to be seen too, because this, things have been pretty steadily upwards here, and the dips have not been very big for a little while now. Week. Yep.
2 or 3 weeks at this point.
So
yeah, a really great week for the markets. A lot of fun time to be an altcoin trader. We'll hope it keeps
definitely. With that Cloakcoin Binance listing, it got me pretty excited about the idea of Binance listing other 2014 to 2016 coins. There's a lot out there that they don't have yet, so I'm definitely keeping my eye open for those types of coins that Binance might list, because it seems like they're really experiencing big volume and price increases on those listings at this point.
I think that falls into the pattern of a lot of their recent listings, right? With Grossel, for instance.
Yep.
Was Emercoin wasn't a Binance, that just pumped on its own, right?
Yep, that was something else.
But Cloakcoin, Via a little bit falls into that category. Maybe
definitely.
Not as much, but
I think they really benefited from that.
So yeah, I think that's a good angle to look at, and I've definitely got my eyes out on some of this other 2014 stuff, like wondering, like, oh, is this the next kind of Trextopia coin that is now on Binance? I guess we'll see.
We will have to see
what they come up with.
So good week in the markets. No one can really complain, I don't think, at this point.
No,
since last week.
The fun thing about these Binance listings, as much as as good or bad as it can be to have the volume get all centralized like this again, is it brings back like the excitement of the listing, like you used to have with the Poloniex listing
for sure.
in 2016.
I think you have a little bit of everything in there with new miners who are looking forward to their coins getting listed on bigger, better exchanges probably, and all that type of stuff that gets to go on.
Alrighty, that is the markets. Next, we're going to jump into a little bit of trivia.
Yep, let's get that trivia question going.
Can you get 1,000 of those sweet Arionum?
That's right. Let's see. The way that it works is you just tweet the answer at Chain Dynamics on Twitter, and the first person to do so gets the prize.
It's true.
The question this week is related to last week's guest. What was the date of Not So Fast's 7th time on our show?
That's right. That question once again. What was the date of Not So Fast's 7th appearance on the Blockchain Dynamics show? If you can be the first one to tweet that to our @ChainDynamics Twitter account, and you can get yourself 1,000 Arionum. That's a huge thanks to CryptoBwan for hooking us up with those Arrow.
That's right. Make sure to check out Altcoin Notify and Shitcoin Notify on Twitter, which are his services to let you know when things are being listed.
And with that, we are going to start into the new coins.
Yep. Not a lot here either for us that we're interested in this week, but we do like to take a look through them.
We looked through the new coins. I really couldn't find anything to get excited about, so I just kind of grabbed a couple things, I guess, to talk about. There's tons of this is like the Masternode pre-sale trend is like, I think it's accelerating to its peak or whatever. I don't know how much more cash they can really wring out of it at this point.
Okay.
But there's just like dozens of these. I feel it feels like every week at this point.
Yeah.
And they've kind of drowned out everything else. There used to be, like, you remember the Crypto Note coin of the week, of course?
Of course.
We're not really seeing Crypto Note coins. We haven't had a new Crypto Note like the V7 I haven't really seen very many of those forks either.
Yep.
So kind of a lot of the forks that we used to see just kind of trickling into the scene have dried up the last couple weeks.
Yeah. So what's up with this first one here?
What we did find, I noticed this one just because we have been looking at some of these Ethereum games a little bit, like CryptoKitties or whatever. Normally we wouldn't probably mention this, but there's no other new coins. So.
Oh, by the way, we got a trivia winner here.
Oh, that was quick. Nice.
Congratulations to BTC Hawk.
Congratulations to you, sir. Get us that Arionum address. We'll hook you up.
Yep. Get at you after the show.
So yeah, what we're talking about, the project is Fair City. It's just another Ethereum game. I guess the reason that I like this one is it seems like they're finally breaking out of the template of CryptoKitties, where it's like, here's a thing, and then you breed them, and then you get a new one. It seems like that all the Ethereum games, at least that I have seen, have basically been really simple.
Right, not a lot of gameplay yet.
Copies of that. And so this one, it looks more like a city building simulation. I can't vouch for whether there's actually any gameplay elements to it, but I think they're kind of getting closer to something that might be a more, kind of like a more what you'll expect the first kind of really successful blockchain games to look like.
Nice. Is this mineable?
I doubt it.
No.
No, and I can't vouch for these guys. You never know.
Yep. Okay. Oh, this is a token anyway.
Yeah, it's just
okay. I'm following.
It's an Ethereum game type thing.
Not a lot of info here, but hey, they got one screenshot, right?
Nope. I really just want to see some more people kind of taking different directions with these.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I love games, so it'd be cool to see some real good games start to be related to collectibles and whatnot. Looks like another one that we're just going to take a little look at is Peony Coin.
Peony Coin launched this week. This one's funny just because the translation is really bad, I guess. There's really nothing else to it.
Looks like it got some pre-sale in there as well, huh?
Well, see, the thing is, they've consulted with the master feng shui in the creation of this altcoin, Woody.
Okay.
Which is pretty great. I am not aware of any other altcoins that have, consulted the master feng shui
That could
before.
be a first.
So, the great thing is that they analyzed that. They looked at the indications of the card of destiny, and they determined that they needed to create a script.
Oh, geez.
A script.
After a long determination. Wow, 80% offered for sale. That's so much to me.
Yeah, script proof of stake ICO.
Interesting.
So apparently the master feng shui had conceived of ICOs hundreds of years ago and brought the idea to these people. I'm really happy for him.
So we're definitely at like a sort of a lull in new coins, it feels like, huh? Not a lot of interesting stuff for this week.
I think there's a cycle that happens, right? Like, you can't really force the new coins to happen, right? You can't just be like, oh, we need a couple developers this week for some good coins. And so what ends up happening is that people will make money on their mining plays, which is happening right now. Some of the mining coins from earlier this year and from last year have been doing well.
True.
And so now you've got all these miners that have a little extra cash in their pockets. You've got all the people that are jealous of the people that got those sweet returns on the new coins when nobody was paying attention.
Got some new bag holders.
Yeah, and so you're kind of getting this. These people are on the hunt now, right? They're looking for new coins, but they can't, just because they're looking for new coins doesn't mean that developers have projects ready and waiting for them. And so then the shitcoin developers will come in and kind of fill that gap with scam coins and like pre-sales and all this other crap.
They're called failed projects, Brandon, not scams.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Just the best of intentions always. But at any rate, they'll suck up some of this new money that comes into the scene. And then eventually people catch wise to it, and the whole thing kind of runs out of gas, And I feel like we're kind of at that point where...
At least with this Masternode pre-sale thing,
yeah,
like you mentioned, like, it feels like you got to be.
I think that one, they must still be carrying like some of the interest from like Pearl and stuff. Some of these like January pumps must be where some of that money's still coming from on those. I don't know.
Yeah.
But at any rate, whatever the cycle is or however it works, we appear to be kind of at the point where it dries up for a little bit until people stop paying attention, and then some new ones will slip in. Or maybe it also just comes down to somebody having a good idea and releasing it whenever that happens.
There are also a few coins I'd like to take a look at that were kind of released in the period during our hiatus that I think we missed the launches of. Have to take a look back through that at some point.
Yeah, we didn't get to. We haven't covered IPBC. We haven't talked about Haven. We'll talk about it a little bit today, but there's a few that did launch that we didn't dive into yet. As far as what we're going to look at this week, because there weren't too much on the new coin front, we're going to look at some of the other new coins that have launched since we started doing the show again.
Catch up on a couple that we've looked at before, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just be like, oh, what's happened to him since we talked about him last time.
All right. So it looks like at the top of the list is Struena, which we talked about maybe 3 weeks ago or so.
We had mentioned it on we were doing a roundup of all of the Ethereum masternode tokens that are out there. And so Struena was on that list, and that's when we last caught up with it.
And it seemed like at some point all of those tokens experienced, not all of them, I have no idea if it was all of them. Some of those experienced an issue where it was revealed that they had kept the Ethereum pre-mine in.
Yeah, this is really funny. They have the original, essentially the ICO contract from the original Ethereum ICO that guarantees the developers of Ethereum all this money.
So in other words, Vitalik has the keys to their coins out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Vitalik, I mean.
It's not like the developers of Struena who had the access to this money. It's the Ethereum Foundation that would have access to it. Which is, it's not probably likely that they would claim them, but it's one of those things.
It's a funny goof, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you have that hanging.
It's not so great. But anyway, we mention it because it seems like Struena implemented a fork to deal with that issue.
And I think they might be among the more proactive of these latest generation of Ethereum clones to do that. There are some others, I think, that are going that direction now, too, but some aren't. You can just kind of, if you're holding one of these Ether tokens, you might want to check. It's not like a huge risk. It's just one of those funny things.
From what I could gather, though, they don't have the masternode implemented yet. Did you find that?
I do not think that Struena has it anywhere that I've seen. No.
So that's still maybe coming up, hopefully.
Yeah, the coin itself is still early in the development cycle, and I don't think anything fundamental has really changed since we last caught up with it there.
So, at least one thing got fixed.
That's what's up on Struena. Over on Wavi.
W-A-V-I.
This is a coin that's probably pretty easy to forget about. I forgot about it.
It looks a lot better on second glance. That's how I felt right away.
That's how I felt too. I think when it came out towards the tail end of when we were seeing all these interesting launches, and so it was easy to forget about it. Now it's one that if I saw this week, I would be like, it would be the best launch of the week, hands down.
Right.
As far as the coin itself, the first thing that we like about it, I guess, is the CPU. It's like a CPU-only algorithm.
It looks like that's been holding up. I don't see anybody saying that there's a GPU out yet. They're using something called YesScript R32.
I think this one's from Yenton. That's an alt that launched sometime last year when we weren't paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And the algo's been around for a little bit, and there's a couple other coins I know of that use it. This is one of them, but it's still, as far as I know, is primarily CPU mined. There
were some parts that we didn't like the roadmap makes no sense to us, stuff like that.
The roadmap is really silly. It's the development direction on it is not super promising, right? Which can kind of be the case with a new coin. Some coins come hot out of the gate with like a really obvious development direction. I would say something like Haven falls into that. Arionum falls into that. Even those masternode coins like Pearl and Struena would fall into that.
Got a plan.
Right. Wavy's just like, this is the coin. Here's our really typical, little bit weird roadmap that we have.
Yeah.
But there's no, you don't get the general sense that the level of development is going to be that high, which isn't necessarily the end of the world, right? If you're looking for something that's going to be the next like huge $1 billion market cap, you're not going to find it looking at a lot of these kind of new.
Well, we also know that you
coins.
really won't be able to guess that probably on the first day of mining either. That's been very hard to know what's going to become worth that much.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, is that sometimes the first few months of the coin, it's like the best time to get it, but often the least meaningful in terms of where it's going to be in 3 or 4 years, because oftentimes they get recycled through developers, or they get picked up or rebranded, totally changed around in ways that you totally can't expect.
Yeah.
And so one of the reasons that looking back on Wavi that I like it is because it's just really cheap right now. They're a really low market cap, easy to mine. It's one of those things where I look back at it after a month and I'm like, I could have mined it. I could have mined this for a whole month and I would have had all that I could have ever needed for the whole life cycle of the coin. Maybe it dies, maybe it doesn't, but at the end of the day, if it does catch that rebrand, or if it does get picked up, I'm the guy who's still sitting on that wallet. That's the kind of thing I like about these coins.
Right.
But for now, I still don't have any. I haven't actually tried to mine it yet.
Yep. Ditto. I'm in the same boat. It looks like it has good mining support. I know mining pools have become a lot more competitive and easy to set up in the last while, but that's not bad. They got the Supernova. That always stands out, right?
It used to be all about the MPOS pool. Everybody wanted the pool that they could sign in and hold their coins on. It seems like people have gotten past that now. Everyone's mining on the kind of...
They really did get over that.
Yeah, which it took me a long time to get over that, honestly. I used to always do the MPOS because you don't want to install the wallets, right? Because
it's an inconvenience essentially, and a danger sometimes.
Inconvenient, possibly dangerous. There's a lot of reasons to not want to install the wallets. So the MPOS pool is appealing in that way. But then now that I'm used to the other kinds of pools, I'm like, I should have just come up with a better system of protecting or isolating. Or sometimes you can generate the keys without even running the wallet.
That's a good point. All right, cool. So WAVI
That's
not
Wavi.
looking too bad to
Wavi.
us in retrospect. Next up is Pigeon. This was the clone of Raven, because basically their community had really good experience with the early mining of Raven, I think, and they wanted to recreate that magic.
Anytime you get a super high profile coin, somebody's going to come along with like a really on the nose clone of it. Like they're going to copy not just the code, but the theme.
Right.
So you have Raven, you got Pigeon. There's like 1 billion of them for Doge.
Yeah, of course.
Which is always fun. It can be fun. What's funny is the expectations that people get going into coins around this. There's always a contingent of people who are like, all right, well, if this code is identical to Raven, then it obviously should have the same value as Raven coin, right?
Yeah, I know that people think that way sometimes, but honestly, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. So there's like people that are salty that it's a fraction of the price of the original Raven. Then you're going to get the Raven people that feel like because it's a copy of Raven, it should have no value. And so they're coming in and they're like going to be salty about it because they think it shouldn't be worth anything.
Really. One interesting thing I noticed was that they have a Pigeon Raven market on CryptoBridge.
Nice, that's good.
I think that's
like
where it
that.
was.
I always like it when they do that. So they can do a pigeoning. Is that what it'd be? The pigeoning, the pigeon flippening.
You can really take your bet, I guess, whichever way.
So yeah, at the end of the day, it's anytime you have a coin like this that's such a direct takeoff of another one, its entire fortune is going to be directly tied to the parent coin, right? If Raven goes up, then Pigeon will probably go up. It might only maintain 1% of the market cap or something. But if Raven pumps, Pigeon's going to pump. If Raven dumps, Pigeon's probably going to dump. It just kind of works out that way. A few years down the line, they might distinguish themselves. In a very, 1 in a billion cases, the second coin will take over like Monero. But usually, the copy coin will just kind of sit in the shadows. So, which also makes it funny that people are wondering, where's the roadmap? Where's the development? It's like, well...
There is none.
Yeah.
Get used to it. That's how a lot of this works.
It's the Raven roadmap. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Funny.
But, I'm not in this coin, but I imagine that if it's going to be around, it'll go through the normal cycles and find a low spot.
And just because
buy right, hold tight, right?
Yeah, totally. Just because it's a copy doesn't mean that it's not going to have a value unto itself. There's a lot of Ethereum copies, for instance, out there like Ubiq or any of these new ones that are providing services that are still valuable because Ethereum has gotten so big that there's a value in having smaller chains and things that you can do on smaller chains that don't need the security or the cost of the security. You could have that exact same dynamic. Could happen with Raven. Of course, there's no guarantee that it would even be Pigeon Coin that is the survivor, but so it's decent. It's a good idea to have some of these kind of successors waiting.
Yeah. Well, and also, there's room for people to innovate on whatever chain they want. We always know that if somebody wanted to, for some reason, choose Pigeon Chain to make a really innovative technology, they would just do it, right? And maybe Raven would integrate it. And that's just an example, a far-fetched example.
No, but that's exactly the kind of thing that can happen in cryptos, man.
Yeah. Okay, so just a little talk about Pigeon Coin.
Pigeons. Love those pigeons.
And then this one's something that we are enjoying giving away, some of that Arionum.
We wanted to catch you all up on this one. We featured this one a few episodes ago. Not really too much to report since then. It's mostly been quiet. but they are still plucking away. I think the main change for this development period is that they've added some of the RPC protocols and stuff that are necessary to integrate new blockchains with exchanges.
Nice. And they got listed on OctaX.
Yeah, they did. They got on OctaX. It actually started trading pretty well right off the bat. They got up above their early OTC price right away. It had been trading OTC for somewhere between 2 to 8 cents, probably really since it launched. It spiked up to maybe 15 to 20 cents on OctaX in the early trading. It's kind of settling back down now below 10 cents again. So it's finding a stable range. I hadn't really heard of this OctaX. It's kind of interesting. They only have, on this OctaX exchange, the smallest increment is 100 Satoshi, which is really bizarre for a coin that is already valued kind of close to that range. It makes the increments really weird.
Man, I haven't traded on OctaX, but I've ran into some exchanges that really trick you with thinking that you're dealing with Satoshis, and you're like, wait a minute, that's not the right number of zeros.
Oh yeah, or they have an extra one and you think it's a Satoshi, but it's a tenth of a Satoshi.
Gotta be careful for sure.
Watch out. So yeah, that's Areonum. Really, they're progressing at a really steady rate still.
Yep, good to see it out there. You know, we're just fans of a lot of unique code bases, so obviously Areonum falls into that category. Whether or not you think PHP is a worthwhile language, it's pretty fun to watch people develop blockchains on lots of languages.
And I think that, time is going to tell, right? If PHP is really a liability for it, well, that will be made clear.
Oh, sure.
Over time.
Well, I'm a fan of JavaScript, so people can throw dirt on me no matter what they want, basically.
So you like that hide coin, right?
Not anymore, no. I gave up on that one.
Me too, man. I believed.
So another coin on our little rolling review here is Haven.
Haven. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. This is one that also launched on our break. I think this launched in January or February. But the theme here, this is a play on the stablecoin genre. So they're kind of playing off of this idea of having a coin that can maintain a peg in dollars, right?
Yeah, I found this interesting. So what you're saying is I have Haven coins, and my favorite thing about cryptocurrencies is that they don't change value. So what I want to do is give you my Haven coins at a certain rate, and I'm guaranteed to get that amount in USD of Haven back from them. Is that from the smart contract?
Yeah, that's basically it. So I guess the normal stablecoin smart contract is like, oh, we're going to have a peg and we're going to enforce that you can always buy or sell the coin at the peg. The play on Haven coin is they're saying, well, you can essentially deposit your Haven in this contract or burn them, and then we're going to give you a fixed USD value back in Haven at a later time.
So I could end up with more or less Haven.
Exactly. So we're gonna create new Haven and issue them to you. If the value of Haven has gone down, then you get more Haven than you started with.
So the blockchain actually creates and destroys Haven based on the smart contract or something like that?
My understanding is that you burn the coins when you initiate the contract. You don't even get a token, or you don't get anything back at this point, right? You just get the record of having destroyed Haven, which were valued at this time at this price.
And that's based on some type of API or Oracle situation.
Yeah, they're going to have to do an Oracle thing, which
we had trouble. I didn't find that information. I wish I could have, how that was performed.
They would have to have an Oracle or an internal market.
An internal market sounds like probably one of the safest bets, but I didn't find the evidence of it yet.
Yeah, that'd be great. But for the time being, I'm going to assume it's an Oracle-based system of evaluating your Haven price in dollars.
But anyways, there has to be some mechanism there to check the price, so I'm following you.
Right. And then at some time t in the future, you can then redeem that contract, and it will spit out the other side of its point, which is to give you those Haven back at their USD equivalent of when you took them out of the system.
Huh. And so this is supposed to be beneficial for vendors in some way?
Yeah, I think just anybody who has... I guess anybody wants to isolate their volatility for whatever reason temporarily.
Yeah, interesting.
And within the confines of the system. The nice thing about it is that, and this is really probably one of the big things I think that people are excited when you compare it to some of the other stable coins, is that the way of maintaining the peg they're not trying to force the peg on the market, right? They're going to have the market. The price of Haven is going to do whatever it wants. They're going to enforce the peg using the blockchain by creating or destroying Haven tokens.
That is interesting.
And that's essentially going to work totally fine as long as you're not cashing in or out. Essentially, it's something that's pushing the liquidity of the markets that the oracles are tied to, right?
So where's the point of, somebody's going to, I'm trying to figure out how to manipulate
How to
this.
break it, yeah.
Yeah, so like, how do I have to, where do I put my Haven and where do I push the price to break it?
You can imagine, essentially it gives you the ability to short the coin on the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine an enormous Haven holder feeling like destroying all their Haven. But the first problem with that is that you've destroyed the Haven temporarily. You're not selling them at that point.
So they're locked up in some way.
Yeah, when you short a traditional market, you're dumping on the market, so you're affecting the price at the same time as you lose control of the currency. Whereas with Haven, you're going to be giving up your currency at that point, but you're not going to be affecting the market because you didn't do a sell, you just entered into the contract.
Interesting.
But somebody could potentially, watch the contract and want to sell based on that, but it's a more indirect path to having that effect.
So it could open up some interesting dynamics for people, but it sounds complicated.
Yeah, that's kind of the crazy thing about it, where it's going to create some new market dynamics that we haven't seen before. I think a lot of people are going to have some ideas about how to play it. I think that people are going to try to mess with it.
Oh yeah,
that's what people do.
I mean, you start thinking about ways immediately, definitely.
And some people might get away with it, and there might have to be some hard forks or some fixes or some patches. Some people probably won't get away with it and might just get owned. They might miscalculate the chain or just get wrecked by it. It's going to create a really interesting dynamic. It should be fun.
Cool.
But as far as the coin itself, it got listed on Trade Ogre a week or two ago, which is there's a million exchanges right now. I can't keep track.
Yeah, I've seen Trade Ogre pop up.
It's on there, and it's pumping right now. So I figured we should probably get to it before. You got to hear about it from us, right?
Right.
I think a lot of people probably know about
I
this.
I won't be buying this until it comes down from what I saw on Trade Ogre, though. I'm probably going to miss out, but whatever.
Yes. I got to mine Haven.
That's how I do it. Oh yeah. Tell me about the mining of it.
It was mining. It was crypto note mining. So it was a nice hash. Crypto note is mostly mined by GPU, I think, these days, or it was. And so that anytime it's GPU, your best bet's usually nice hash as far as if you want to do cloud on it. So it was just a classic nice hash mining experience on that one.
Nice.
And it's trading right now. It's quite a bit above the mining, but we'll see how it goes.
All right. So that was a little bit of talk about Haven, and that will conclude our small rolling review with a few coins in it.
Oh, the last thing I meant to say is they forked to a different Crypto Night iteration, and it's different from the other ones slightly. I'm not sure how, but
all right.
So they're on their own sort of sub branch of Crypto Note right now.
But that indicates they aren't susceptible to the newer the Bitmain ASICs, I guess.
For now, I believe so. Yep.
For whatever it's worth, I guess. Cool. Let's take a look at some coin listings.
Of course, we got that Binance, or some people like Binance, some people like Binance. We never know.
I like it because it's like finance with a B.
Yeah, that's my American English brain. That's how it reads it too.
They listed Cloak Coin.
Cloak. Really exciting. Like we said, we're really excited to see some of our old favorites get listed on Binance.
For me, a coin like Cloak Coin has just been easy to be a fan of for a long time, just based on it being around and being one of those coins. So I don't know. It's cool to see it continue to grow.
There were two coins in 2014, Cloak and Veracoin. I completely missed out on both of them, and I was so salty about it. I couldn't get past it. I have both now. I finally got them both. I probably got them sometime in 2017.
Cryptopia listed Skrilla, SKRL, and they listed Bitcoin Green. Don't know anything about either of those, so that's why I'm saying I'm going to try to start looking stuff up. Got to learn more about these things.
Got to figure them out.
Not bad. Another one in that category, Bittrex listed Pro, PROPY, and definitely saw a lot of buzz about it, so definitely curious, but I don't know much about it. You know anything?
I don't know. It's a token. It's another ERC20, so it's the Bittrex special, but no, like you said, I'm not in touch with those right now.
Yep. So then we moved over to Coin Exchange. They kind of kept up with their trend of listing some very high volume tokens and some coins that we'll never know where they're coming from. So they listed Golem, Mithril, Sipsco, Japan Brand Coin, Populous, Fitcoin, and Varium.
I wonder, with Coin Exchange, I'm wondering if are they doing these ads like as kind of like marketing ads to get volume, or is it like a lot? Because I know a lot of these ICOs have huge budgets for this kind of stuff. Maybe it's just like they're checking boxes, you know. And
it could be part of both of that. Yeah,
checking the Coin Exchange box, you know.
I don't know. For me, it drives me to look in this particular list. Populous is the one that I know nothing about that I am curious about because it went up a bunch on Binance, I think, during that week as well.
Yep.
So I'm just curious. Those are the types of ones I was talking about at the beginning of the show that I definitely just did not familiarize myself with at the time.
Yeah, the Binance wave hit pretty fast.
South Exchange, pretty new up-and-comer. They listed Snowgem XSG. And we definitely missed out on the launch of this one, but it didn't look like a bad coin from my initial checkout of it.
Yeah, it looked like it's another miner coin, right?
Yeah, with masternodes too.
Right. Before they were totally played out, essentially.
Yeah, at least trying to have some non-ridiculous parameters, I guess. You know?
I always appreciate non-ridiculous parameters. Yeah, so that was South Exchange. They added Snowgem. Over on Livecoin, they added Latium X and Module Trade.
Your guess is as good as mine, man.
Livecoin.
I do like Livecoin still, though.
Yeah, they've been under the radar for a while. There was a period in like the 2016 where they were kind of they've been around since then, and they were one of the ones that were looking like they might kind of I don't know, get that next boost of volume to the next level or whatever.
Right.
But then that was before Binance showed up and like took everyone's thunder.
Just the functionality-wise, I just like it because their API responds probably as well as Poloniex is for me. So
nice.
And that'll do it for coin listings.
Alrighty.
How about some coin birthdays? Yes, we got some. That's
we got
right.
Birthdays. We love birthdays. We're happy to have birthdays this week.
I even got a 1-year birthday. Theresa May coin.
Theresa May coin. All right.
Yeah. Now, it's kind of funny because there was a lot of like different coins coming out, but not a lot of them made it. That's always the case, right?
Always. Yep.
So anyway,
this must be a busy. Usually, I think this is a busier time of year for launches. Maybe it's unusual that we don't have that many right now.
And all I know is that Theresa May is a European politician. That is about the scope of my knowledge on that. Now,
British Prime Minister.
2 years goes to Billary. So, as American, I know what that's a reference to.
All right, I can get that. Politics. Apparently, the politics coins are survivors. We see these in the birthdays more than you see them in the birthdays more than you see them like on the charts. You know.
Yeah, definitely. They don't move a lot, and I don't know where the trading is, but
they somehow survive.
They make it. They still have block explorers. You can still look up the info. People are keeping those chains alive. Then this is a little bit funner category is the 4-year birthdays. The first one that I have on here is Bitstar, and it started on April 16th, 2014. Last year when we checked on it on its 3rd birthday, it was at a 188 Bitcoin market cap. This year it's at 90 Bitcoin market cap. Woo. So
Bitstar, they got delisted, that's why.
Yeah, so you can kind of look at that as a comparison to Monero, who launched on 4/18/2014 and has a 4-year birthday.
Holy crap.
Last year, they were 233,000-ish Bitcoins, and this year, they're 497,000 Bitcoins.
Yeah, well, I'm the guy that mined Bitstar on the first week and skipped out on Monero, so... Yeah. That's about.
Oh, give me a break, dude.
That
that's 4 years. You've had plenty of times to swap your Bitstar to Monero. Don't worry.
If I haven't had a million chances to get Monero in the meantime.
But anyway, awesome. I mean, congratulations to all the chains, and Monero looking very good for a 4-year chain.
Yeah, I really love those birthdays. Kudos to all of our birthdays this week: Theresa, Billary, Bitstar, Monero. Alrighty, I think that is going to wrap it up for Blockchain Dynamics show number 91. Big congratulations once again to that trivia winner. Once again, the answer there was April 23rd for Not So Fast's 7th show.
Yep, always appreciate you, Not So Fast. And that will basically do it for episode number 91. You can check us out on blockchaindynamics.net with the archives. And we will see you next week with much heavier bags. Bye.
Currency. Like a couple Bitcoins. Money, 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 though. Hold up on my Nakamoto.